What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, October 8th. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. And I know you guys have all read on social media that Fruit Loop lost her uncle earlier this week, and she just kind of wanted some normalcy. So we decided yesterday we were going to do one today.
Yep.
And so a lot of you guys have reached out and offered your condolences. I mean, in our families, uncles are like dads.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And I appreciate all the love and prayers and all that. My dad has four brothers. We lost one of his youngest brother in December, and then now my uncle, who was a pastor, died suddenly Tuesday. So
yeah.
thank you for your prayers and
You
your
guys
well
been
wishes.
been covered up with that lately.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
we have some peace and quiet. So, we just want to give a big thank you real quick to Gemma for the PayPal donation. We appreciate you so much. And our
Thanks, Gemma.
sponsor, Two Cool T-shirt quilts. If you're on YouTube, you can look behind me and see a couple of the pillows that Andrea and company have done. And so just go to her website. It's twocooltshirtquilts.com/pretty lies and alibis. And you can get memorial pillows. You can get quilts. You can get all kinds of stuff. So just use those t-shirts that are collecting dust in your closet for good.
Yeah, what about like Christmas T-shirts? That'd be cool to
That
have like a
yeah,
Christmas blanket.
well, I think that's gonna be some family gifts this year, but I can
Yeah.
say that because they don't listen. Although I have to say, my family is really invested in this Brian Laundrie Gabby Petito case.
Yeah.
I get more texts from them now about it. So, here's the big thing. We got the big document dump from Chandler 2 days ago. I have lost my religion trying to get this file downloaded and unzipped on my computer, and I finally did today. I've spent a lot of the day going through it. We are gonna have some big, I mean, huge episodes about this
Yeah.
dump here in the next week or 2. It's gonna
Yeah.
be frequent episodes because there's so much stuff, and it really gives a good glimpse into the craziness that was their life.
Yeah, I've read through some of it, and it's crazy.
Okay, so speaking of reading through, yesterday when I could not get this stuff on my computer, I was kinda scrolling Twitter as things was coming out about it, and I saw that Chad compared himself to Harry Potter, which I'm just gonna say he gives me more Voldemort vibes than Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But in the same sentence, they talk about his goddess lover, Lori, or something like that. So my little twisted brain, I thought they were saying that Chad had written some kind of cult Harry Potter erotica.
Oh, wow.
I was just I had to go get clarification. In the meantime, I had like 50 inappropriate wand jokes ready, but
What the world?
oh my gosh, but there is some erotica that Chad wrote about him and Lori in there. We will not be covering that mess, but
Yeah, he changed their names or something, I don't know, it
yeah,
was weird.
it's oh my god. I mean, as if we can't be just grossed out by Chad anymore. Try reading some erotica that it was
Hey,
meant for
I
Lori.
ain't doing this one, I did the other one. You can handle this one. Everybody comment
Oh my
and
gosh.
tell Gigi she's gotta do this one, not me.
Oh no. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, it's bad. So, what about Chad? We just got some news right before we went on.
So the change of venue did go through, right?
It did. So, and we kind of expected that. I think for appeal purposes down the road, this was the way to go for Judge Boyce. And we will see now kind of what happens. I mean, Chad's ready to go. And I think that with Lori being incompetent, um, it's gonna make it easier for Chad to go ahead and go to trial alone.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the goal is to get Chad in court, get this trial over with away from her.
Yeah.
So we'll
I
see if
mean, it's
things
I'm good with either. I'm good with them doing it that way. As long
I
as
am too.
they are held accountable for what they did.
They
I
will be
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure, but she's doing this incompetency thing right now, and we know that this can go on for a very long time. She's refusing to take her meds as far as we know. I don't None of that's gonna be unsealed because it's a HIPAA violation. But yeah, so there's just a little bit of stuff, but no, in the next week or 2, if this hunt for Brian Laundrie doesn't produce any results, it's gonna be a lot of Vallow Daybell breaking down these documents. So, what's the latest on the manhunt?
Um, so they're looking in the reserve right now, right?
Yeah, they're back in there, and it's kinda weird because last week it slowed down a bit, and you
Yeah.
think, "Well, maybe they don't think he's in there," and then all we know is Wednesday kinda cranked back up.
Yeah. So I spoke with my cousin, who lives down there. He lives an hour from there.
Oh, wow.
And we ain't even talked about this. But we were talking about it. He came up because that's his father that passed away, my uncle. So
Oh.
we were just kind of talking about it, and he said he doesn't know how he's moving. That a lot of that area that he's in is so thick, um, that he said I don't know how he's moving through all that.
And maybe that might
They seem to think somehow. He said what the word is down there, that somehow that he got in that water on a boat, and because he said it's easy to pull up, and
Mhm.
you're gone in 5 seconds. That was
Right.
his thought, but I mean, we don't know for sure. But he just said moving through all that swamp and all that stuff is very difficult.
Well, and here's the thing, we found out this week, the lawyer for the laundry say now that Brian actually left home on the 13th and not the 14th, so that's an extra day head start he had, so that makes it what, 5 days
Yeah.
that he
Yep.
had to get to where he's going. I don't know if he's in that reserve or not. I mean, you kinda have to wonder, how is he surviving? That they're standing I know the water's receding is what they said, so it's making searching a little easier, but at the same time, is he eating grass and berries?
Dude, he like Pumbaa and Timon on Lion King. He eating grub
Eating
worms.
the bugs, oh my
He's eating
god.
them bugs. Ew. Ooh.
Oh, slimy yet satisfying.
Yeah, exactly. Hakuna Matata. Yeah.
Right, yeah. He's
But
got some worries, though.
oh
You
yeah.
you you have to think about the mental aspect of this. If he is wherever he is, whether he's in that reserve or on the Appalachian Trail or wherever, he is constantly having to think, "When is the gig up? When
Yeah.
are they gonna find me? Can I go to sleep and not worry about somebody coming up on me?"
Yeah.
He ain't having
It's
a
kinda
party.
like, when you was a kid and you did something wrong at home and you waiting on your mama to grab you up by the ear.
Oh,
You
yeah.
always yeah, yeah, that was my mom, but always looking over your shoulder. I hated that feeling.
Yeah,
I
my
hated that
mom was
feeling.
always the one that threatened to tell dad, and then when he got home from work or whatever, she would just pretend like nothing had ever happened. She was a big softie.
Yeah.
My brother got much more disciplined than I did, but he's older by 5 years, and I was the only girl, so I kinda lucked out. And he still
No, I
reminds me
didn't.
of that, by the way. He'll say, "You
I
got it
didn't.
so easy when we were kids." So, CNN reported something the other day.
Yeah, that, a campsite had been found in the reserve. Josh Taylor, the spokesman for the Northport Police, say investigators are telling me that no campsite was found.
And
I'm gonna
yeah,
tell you what was smart about that, and I thought about this today. Closing that campsite, closing that whole facility was
yep,
so huge
yes.
because anything that you find that's recent, it's him
That yeah,
if he's
look
in
at
there.
you.
Yeah, see? Mhm.
That's awesome. Well, they
Yeah.
just reiterated actually, I just got an alert on my phone that again, Northport police are saying that they found nothing this week and there was no campsite. But this is an FBI-led investigation.
Yeah.
CNN reported it. Now, I mean, they could have gotten it wrong, but maybe they're just trying to put a lid on this because here's the thing. They sent his dad into the reserve, what, yesterday?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, yes, just yesterday. And here's the thing that just doesn't make sense to me. They said that he was going in there to point out favorite spots that Brian had.
Yep.
They'd already told the FBI this weeks ago. Pull up a
Yeah.
map, or there are other ways to show where I just thought maybe they took him in there to see if they found some things that maybe he could identify as being of Brian's. They can't just yank it out of there and drive it to the house. It's
Yeah.
potential evidence. That
Yep.
was kind of my thought as to why they took him in there.
Yep. That's a good point.
Yeah. So
Good
what
point.
did
But
the
I know Dog, they found a campsite.
well, dog found a Monster energy drink. I don't really know.
Well, it was some other stuff though, I think, because they bagged it all up and gave it. So I don't think that's the same thing.
And that was in DeSoto Park, and that
True,
wasn't in the reserve,
true,
so it was 2 separate locations.
true.
I think there's a reason the FBI is not in DeSoto.
Yeah,
People kayak to these little islands. If you're truly trying to hide out, you're not gonna be on an island where a couple and their kids can kayak up and see you. I
yeah,
think if he's anywhere in the wild, he's in this reserve.
yeah. And he could, if it's as thick as what my cousin said, I mean, I guess he could be sitting there not moving.
Well, you can see it from overhead. There's so many little
Mhm.
patches of, I guess, forest or whatever. They can't I had read that that may be why they're not doing the heat sensor drone thing or whatever because it's
Yeah,
so thick.
yeah. Hmm.
So right here, the laundry attorney, what did he say about Chris going in the reserve yesterday?
Chris is assisting law enforcement today in the search for Brian. Chris was asked to point out any favorite trails or spots that Brian may have used in the reserve. Um, Although Chris and Roberta provided this information, what we just said a few weeks ago, they thought on-site assistance may be better. Um, and then we talked about it being closed,
Yeah.
which is very smart. Um,
Mhm.
so we talked about he went out there today. A chopper located him.
Well, it was
Um,
yesterday that he went out there, yeah, that the
oh, was it
chopper
yesterday?
found the little what it's like a gator, kinda like an off-road golf cart.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was in a really specific area because the guy in the chopper was he found the car, he found Brian's dad's red truck, and then for a while, he couldn't find anybody. He said, "We've looked all over, we don't see them. If they're in the thick, then we won't be able to see them." And then all of a sudden, there's an overhead shot of that gator, and then you see that there's just a really thick wooded area right there. So I'm just saying maybe he did go say this is where he camps, but I don't think that's the case. I think they might have found something in there and they don't want to acknowledge it right now. And if CNN got a
mhm.
scoop, they're trying to squash it because this could be the biggest lead they have yet.
Yep, exactly.
We don't want him to
Uh,
end up like Eric Rudolph. It was 5 years later they found him in what, North Carolina digging through a dumpster. I mean,
yeah,
he was on the run for a very long time.
yep. So they did say, the attorney said that it seems the water in the reserve is receding, and certain areas are more accessible to search.
Mhm.
So, um,
Yeah. And it's just odd that they here's the statement they said about the parents.
yep. So the entire Laundrie family is grateful for the hard work of the dedicated members of law enforcement that have been searching the reserve for Brian over the last few weeks. Hopefully, he will be located soon.
I just love how they are grateful that the FBI is searching for their kid, not radio silence
Yeah,
when Gabby was missing.
exactly. Yeah. Yep.
So all of Gabby's family was on Dr. Phil earlier this week, and man, it was so hard to watch. It's because as a mother, I just feel her. Can't
Yeah.
imagine not knowing where one of my kids were or to eventually find out that they've been murdered. But she said the day they found her body, which was September 19th, they knew it was Gabby, and she said they hoped that it wasn't, but it was the hardest thing she ever had to listen to, and she said it didn't hit her right away for a few seconds, but she said she knew she was gone just as her mother, and
Mhm.
she said but at the same time, a mother's intuition told her before then, when she found out the van was in Florida on September 11th, and the detective came to her house to let her know the van was in Florida, she said, "I felt in my heart that she was gone." She said, "I'm angry. I know who the last person was that was with her, but she said we can't point fingers until we know for sure." It's
Yeah.
really true though. As a mom, it's weird how you are connected to your kids. And there was times where I was out of town and one of my kids got sick and I just had a feeling to call home. It's very weird. It's just
Yeah.
something I think that it's very weird. But her stepdad, Joe Schmidt, said initially they thought Brian was missing as well. They didn't understand that because nobody from the Laundrie family was talking to him.
Yeah. I
He
think they
said,
called several times and stuff, and nobody returned the call, right?
no answer. Calls went straight to voicemail. Texts were just unanswered. And I didn't know this, but her body was found at an actual campsite that was a 5-minute walk from where we saw the van parked.
That's eerie
Mhm.
that that van was there and he could have been.
Yeah, I mean, watching that video after we found out she was there, It's
Yeah.
really eerie to see that
Yeah.
that van, and then you see that flip-flop in the back, and gosh, it's just so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But her dad says he hopes that Brian is found alive, and he wants to look him in the eyes, and he this was exactly my thought. He said he wants him locked up for the rest of his life because he's such an outdoorsman, and being in that concrete cell is gonna be torture.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He also said they couldn't listen to the 911 call that came out with the second witness that witnessed Brian hitting Gabby. He just said it was too hard.
I bet
So
so.
oh, yeah. So why don't you take over here? Brian's sister finally had enough and came out because she had protesters at her house. I'm sorry, one of my old students, Taquana. Hey, Taquana, she watches. Okay, one of my old students. I had her senior year, and we helped her get a job, and she's still there, and she loves this. So, hey, Taquana, she was texting me. I take her out for coffee once a month. It's our
She
time
gonna be
tomorrow.
excited. "Hey, girl."
Yes, we love
Um,
Taquana.
so Brian's sister came outside, and was talking to protesters. She said it was scaring her kids, and I mean, I understand that. Those
I
kids
do
didn't
too.
do, anything to deserve all that or whatever, but so
Mhm.
she went outside and, um, revealed she saw her brother twice after he returned to Florida after Gabby was murdered.
Yeah, so
So
what
she
happened here I didn't write this very well, I apologize. I was probably, distracted by the cat or something. But if you remember, initially, she said she had not talked to her brother or seen him
Yep.
since he had been back in town. Now, I know a lot of reporters were calling on Good Morning America to release the full clip because she said it was misconstrued or
Mhm.
whatever. But once people found out she had seen him on the day he got back and then went to the campground for a day, the protesters went to her house. So finally, they had bullhorns. Her and her husband both came out. I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify. That was my bad.
I gotcha. Well, this came out right as we ended our last podcast, didn't
It
it?
did. 10
Yeah.
minutes after we ended the recording, all this happened.
Yep. So they asked her if, she thought Brian killed Gabby, and she said, "I don't know." She said the FBI knew she saw Brian at the campground. She said, "We ate dinner and had s'mores around the campfire and left. There was nothing peculiar about it. There was no feeling of grand goodbye. There was no nothing." She said she is frustrated she didn't pick up on anything and it was just a regular visit.
Yeah.
She wanted to make clear that she and her husband had been cooperating with the FBI since the beginning. She said she never saw any domestic violence between Brian and Gabby, that it was typical of them to argue and take some time away from each other. She said when Brian visited September 1st, which was the day he came back to Florida, it was an unannounced visit and he came with their mother.
She seemed okay, so I might get some flack for this, and I don't know what was said in full on Good Morning America about her not seeing him. She seemed really credible to me. It didn't seem like I mean, she didn't hesitate in answering the questions, and her husband seemed really nice. Like he was just standing there kind of shaking his head and he would back her up, but I try to be understanding in these types of things where we always say even Chad's kids or anybody associated with somebody who's crazy, they didn't deserve to be put in this situation and they didn't
Yeah.
ask. I
Yeah.
didn't get any weird vibes from her that she was lying. I really think she was trying to set the record straight. The next morning, she went back on a talk show and released some pictures of Brian at that DeSoto campground that we tweeted out. So it's like if she lied, that's really suspicious.
Yeah.
But when she was outside talking to the protesters, I mean, she was very forthcoming, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed to be.
Mhm.
And I mean, the FBI is going to investigate it.
Oh, for
And
sure. And maybe I'm totally wrong and, she lied her face off, but I didn't get that from her body language and how she didn't hesitate.
yeah. Yeah. Um, so she said Brian is more of a mediocre survivalist.
Yeah.
She wants him found alive because she wants answers as much as everyone else. She said she is not speaking to her parents. She doesn't
Yeah.
know if they're involved and encourage them to come clean to authorities about what they knew if they were. She said that Gabby's family deserved answers.
So you kinda see that divide in the family where maybe she was asking them questions that made them very uncomfortable, and they were just like, we can stop talking.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, it's a bad thing, but a lot of people were wondering if maybe the parents have been given immunity already and going to look for Brian, and they may be trying to lead. And I don't think so. I think it's way too early for anything like that.
Yeah.
We don't
If they
know.
helped him, they need to be held accountable. If they helped him get away,
I
I
agree
mean,
100%.
they need to be held accountable. I
Look at
mean,
how much money they've spent looking for him, and then just Gabby's family having to sit and wait. I mean, Gabby's mom tweeted out when she joined Twitter, which was last weekend, I believe, "Mama Bear is angry." And I
yeah,
get that.
yeah. Well, if
They
you
didn't.
did nothing wrong, why are you running?
Yeah, yeah, he's gonna pop out of the woods and say, "I had no clue y'all were looking for me."
Yeah, I've been
Wait
on
for it.
excursion. Yeah,
Imma tell you, his alibi, if they catch him alive, is gonna be, "We had an argument, I left her, I come back, she's dead, I panic and come home."
yeah,
Bull hawk.
yeah.
Hogwash.
Meanwhile, the van is at the same spot. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So,
So Brian's trip to Florida from August 17th to the 23rd.
mhm.
That's
His lawyer confirmed he flew home from Salt Lake City before Gabby was murdered, and their attorney said that Brian returned home to pick up some items and to empty a storage unit to save money because they were thinking about extending their trip, and the attorney said that Brian and Gabby paid for the flight for him to go there and back, and then you think, where are they getting all this money? Because she had to have probably been in a hotel. She was in a hotel that week.
yeah. I mean, unless you stayed in the van,
I don't think so. I
I
think,
don't think I
because
wouldn't
remember,
have by
uh-uh.
myself. I wouldn't have stayed out like that.
Look,
No.
Imma tell you, my bucket list goal was in 15 years just to hit the road in a RV and live in national parks. I have changed my mind. It's just, and then you hear about these 2 women that were murdered up in Moab, and it's not related as far as we know, and there's a lot of speculation and theories. I
Yeah.
mean, that I don't even go in the groups on Facebook because it's just crazy stuff.
Yeah. We always research where we go. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Um,
Remember
so
we wanted to do that this past summer, was get an
yeah,
RV and just go.
yeah,
That would be so fun eventually, but
yeah. If you
we
had
all
a
just
big
got
group, I
busy.
don't think it'd be bad.
Nah,
So
man, we just tag team them, but little old
yeah.
me and, in a RV, I don't have
Yeah.
guns. I would shoot myself in the foot and make myself an easier target. So that's kinda all we had. We just wanted a Fruit Loop, and I'm just so proud of you because I know this has hit you very hard, but the fact that you just wanted to come on and be normal and do this for our listeners, I mean, just you're an amazing person, and I know everybody's got good juju coming your way, and the next few days are gonna be tough, but, you know, yeah, there's not much to say. So I just fed your family last night. It's like, I don't know what
Yeah.
to say, so here's food.
Yeah. No, they loved it, and we went by and ate and took
Good.
banana pudding. That's my dad's favorite dessert. So
Nice.
uh
Well, we're sending you lots of love, and I will see you hopefully in the next few days. And then probably about Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to start into this Vallow Daybell, everybody Chandler document dump. It's intriguing stuff, lots of stuff in there,
yeah, y'all better buckle up and put your seatbelt on.
and a helmet.
Yeah. A
Yep,
helmet,
we got to get ready.
seatbelt. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're going full force. So, anyways, you guys have a nice weekend. I'm going to Fall for Greenville, our big event here, where it's just nothing but good food all down Main Street. So we're gonna go tomorrow. We've had so much rain. I thought I was gonna get an arc. Trade my Jeep in for an arc because when I went out for the first time in the sun, I felt like a vampire. It like burnt my retinas. It's been raining here for a week solid.
Oh, I know. It's horrible.
I mean, I was gonna get a fish just to walk it down the street. Get a pet fish.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. We will see you soon.
All right. Good night.
Good night.